Hi, please allow me to briefly introduce our final project. Our final project aims to help students find their ideal apartments and meanwhile save their time. When you open our final program, you will see here three things: source code, test code, and readme file. Let's open the source code first. You'll see the attempt.py here, and that's the only file that you need to run. Let's have a try here. Okay, let's run it. Basically, we'll ask you for three things. The first one is how many bedrooms do you want? Like, if you don't really care about that, you can type 0. If you want to care about that, you can type whatever number you like. But I'm going to type 0 here. And then we're going to ask which university are you in? So instead of typing the university name, you only need to type the number ahead of it. For instance, New York University, type number 77. And then what's the max distance can you accept from your school to your apartment? If you are choosing an university that's actually far away from the city center, then you really want this number to be big, because otherwise you might not get any result, because we do not have that much uh, house data, and we'll explain that later. But here for New York University, we don't have to worry about that. Like 3 is enough, and then we can get the result. The result is a k-means result, and as you can see, each point is a house data, and the star is the center of them. We'll explain that more specifically here. After you close that, you will see a thing. As you can see, let's wait for them to pop up. So basically, instead of just showing you all the data we get, what we do is we group them, use k-means to group them into several groups. And the reason is, let's say, for instance, if you are going to New York University and you are not familiar with New York, you don't want to see all this data at once. What we are doing here is like, for instance, group 2. You check this home first. You check whether you like it or not. And while you're checking an apartment, you also normally would see the area around, right? Like the environment, the transportation, the food. And the convenience thing for us for here is that all the rest of the group, you don't need to check the area again, because all the apartments in this group are around the same area. And we believe this will greatly save your time. So basically, what we are doing here is that we provide you an order to check all this data, and you will stop whenever you find your ideal apartment, and we believe that won't take very long. So that's the result. And also we include the security thing here, and you don't need to care about that. You don't need to write how secure you want this thing. We'll count it for you. But apart from that, we have several things that we want to clarify. Let's go back to our source code. You can see here that there's this main.py. Let's open it. And in the main.py, you will see crime data, house data, and uni data. You can see we use pd.readcsv to get the data, which means we parse the data for you and you don't need to parse again. But if you do want to parse it, it's very simple. You just comment this one and uncomment this one, and all the result will be the same. But we don't really suggest you to do that, because this add log function, the problem of this function is that in order to get the latitude and longitude of the house data, we scrap on the Google Map. The problem is Google Map only allows you to scrap for 150 lines, and after that you can't scrap anymore. So if you just uncomment this thing and uncomment this thing, and you run in the main method, you might not get your ideal result because you might be blocked. And when you get blocked, all the latitude and longitude will be zero, and you cannot get the result then. So we don't suggest you do it here. And in order to get this house data, what we do is that we scrap multiple times, and each time uh, we get 150 lines, and then we change our IP address, we find somewhere else, and we wait for a few hours, and we scrap again. And that is actually why we do not have that much house data in the house data.csv, because it really takes a long time. But anyway, although we don't suggest you to run this in the main method, we do provide you a way to check if our code is right. So there is this test code, and if you open this test code, you will see the house data.test and school data test. Let's open this one. I think it's already open. Alright, here it is. And as you can see, it's a very short code. When you run this code, it will scrap the data, and you'll see if our code works or not. Now, when you run the data, you want to pay attention to this number. This number you can change. This is actually how many pages you want to scrap for the house data. You don't want this number to be too big, because again, that will lead to this Google Map problem. But 5 will work. So if it works, you would get this test house.csv in your file. And basically, it's the same thing with the university data test. And well, that's all of it. Thanks for listening.